firing on Fort Sumter, April 1861, pushed the secessionists to compel some kind of response. They were hoping that the wavering Upper South would vote for secession once the fighting had actually begun. Lincoln's call for 75,000 militia troops into 90 days service to suppress a rebellion, an insurrection, quote, too powerful to be suppressed by the ordinary course of judicial proceedings. The 8 states of the Upper South then had to decide, since it had come to war, and since in the words of Stephen A. Douglas, there can be no neutrals, only patriots or traitors. Lincoln understood the importance of what was going on. And had he failed to deal successfully with the crisis that he faced, it would have gone very ill for the United States. I would argue that, in fact, he dealt brilliantly with the crisis that he was facing, and that the things he did, and especially the things he did not do, went a long way toward ensuring victory for the United States. I'll get to that specifically in a minute. Lincoln was supposed to have said, well, he hoped God would be on the side of the Union, quote, I must have Kentucky. In fact, as he well knew, he needed all the border slave states. Now, once again, your map. The border slave states are those slave states whose borders touch free states. And they include, moving from west to east, Missouri, Kentucky, Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware. Lincoln got all of them. He was able to prevent the secession of all of them, or at least as much of them as he needed, as we'll see. He obviously didn't get all of Virginia. Delaware was solid for the Union. Slavery had all but disappeared. 90% of its black population was free. There were only a handful of powerful slave owners in Delaware. So Delaware was not really ever at risk. But the rest of the border south, and once again, this is where the map is important, has enormous strategic importance. The Ohio River runs virtually the entire length of the border slave states, at least Virginia and Kentucky. That's the northern border of Kentucky. That's the Ohio River there. This could either be a highway for the Union or a nearly impenetrable barrier, a defensive line for the Confederacy. Whoever held that part of Virginia and Kentucky would control the Ohio River. A crucial segment of the Mississippi runs along the border of the eastern border of Missouri. That could also potentially serve either as an avenue of invasion for the Union, or, in moving in the other direction, moving upstream, an avenue of invasion for the Confederacy. Washington's most important rail link with the West, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, runs through a good chunk of Maryland and then into northwestern Virginia, where it terminates at Wheeling and then links up with other direct routes to the west. Obviously, control of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad was going to be essential. These states also, in addition to their geographical importance, perhaps, possessed significant resources that would have made an enormous difference to the Confederacy. Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri alone, had they seceded, could have added, let's see, to the Confederacy's white population, 45%. They would have added an extra 45% of the Confederacy's white population and hence its military manpower. They would have added potentially 80% of its manufacturing capacity, 40% of its supply of horses and mules. So this region is of tremendous importance. The trick was to hold on to it.